We are here with an incredible guest, Erika Ayers.
Badan.
Yep.
Our new CEO, my boss, Erika Nardini.
Erika Nardini, CEO Barstool.
Formerly Erika Nardini, now Erika Ayers Badan, is the first CEO of Barstool Sports.
One of the most powerful women in sports media.
Did you have any hesitations before taking the job?
No, not really. I think other people did.
I remember thinking like, who the fuck is gonna take this job? And she was like the perfect fit for the job.
In 2016, we were just trying to figure out how to make money and get the payroll going and not to get kicked off Facebook Live. By making it bigger than Dave, that was by design.
I saw what Barstool could do, just how big this brand has the potential to be and just how powerful its audience is.
Do you at all regret your decision to put yourself in the public eye like that?
One of the things about Barstool is everybody's in content. Every goddamn time something's happening in entertainment, you have to be ready to publish at that moment. That's how Dave built Barstool in the beginning.
Went from 100 million to 200 million, you plus 100% revenue in 1 year.
We built the company from probably 15 people, one office, to nearly $300 million in revenue.
She's a perfect hire for us, perfect time, perfect everything. No chance that we get here without her.
Today I'm stepping down as the CEO.
Now the CEO of Food 52. She has written a book, Nobody Cares About Your Career.
When you get to that point where you're like, what else scares me? What else can I accomplish? It's a good time to move on.
All right, everybody, welcome to another episode of Mislaibeled. We are here with an incredible guest. Before we get to her, if you could please subscribe, and comment, would mean the world. Okay, so we are in a gorgeous office, may I say, in Brooklyn with the incredible Erika Ayers.
Badan.
Yep. I wanted to make sure I pronounced it.
Just call me Erika.
We're just going to go with Erika. That's it, just straight Erika.
I'm not going to call you by your full name every time.
Yes, exactly. Erika, I got to say, I don't know if you even remember when I started messaging you, but I think now it's been literally 2 years.
Yeah, you're persistent.
I've been
sure.
persistent.
That's
Okay,
good for you.
And I remember seeing actually very clearly, I follow you, Token CEO, on Instagram or your personal page or whatever, and you would put all the calls of, the conversations, your responses to all the questions. And someone one time asked, if you're trying to get through to a particular prospective, boss or company and you want to get through, is it okay to text them or call them? And you were like, no, start with email because of the fact that email is, the least invasive.
Yep.
Maybe then call. Worst case scenario, last case, you could text them if they haven't responded yet. And you followed up ample times. So I cut that and I sent that to you. I don't even know if you remember this. And I said, well, I tried all these things, so now I'm messaging you.
And here you are. So it worked.
And it worked.
The texting worked or the calling worked? Or both?
I think
the DMing works.
Yeah.
Persistency pays off.
There you go. Okay, so I have a lot of questions, obviously, because you've kind of been that behind-the-scenes person.
Yep.
I obviously know you and Binyamin as well, primarily from Barstool.
Okay.
A lot of questions on that.
Yeah.
A lot of questions on this place that you're in right now, which is Food 52, which is also incredibly cool concept that's going on here. But I wanted to just go back a little bit. Could you just give a little background on yourself, like where you came from originally?
Sure.
Grew up?
So I was born in Colorado, and then when I was about 5, my family moved to New England. So I grew up in New Hampshire. I played a lot of sports. We didn't have a TV growing up, which I think kind of explains why I work in media, because I was so starved for content. In my family, you could either read, stack wood, or help out at our house. That was basically play sports, I guess. And I went to Colby College in Maine and graduated. I got an internship at Fidelity Investments as a receptionist and was so bored that I was like, I will do anything to keep myself busy all day. And I was psyched to have a job. The economy was great when I graduated from school. I got a job at Fidelity after I graduated. Worked there for a bunch of years, made a bunch of jumps and changes, started working in advertising. That was right around the time the internet started, and really fell in love with the internet, which was kind of one of the big defining things of my career, was the chance to be at the beginning of the internet. And then long story short, I worked at a bunch of ad agencies. I worked for Microsoft. I worked at Yahoo. I helped take a company called Demand Media public. I was the CMO of AOL. I ran a startup in the music industry, and then for the past majority of a decade, I've been at Barstool.
Yeah, I think Barstool was probably the craziest. But
yeah.
I saw that you graduated with a degree in sociology, right?
I did, yep.
Does that have a connection to do with the marketing, the media, and all that stuff?
I don't know. I thought I wanted to be a government major because it was like kind of the rocks for jocks equivalent at Colby. And if you were, you wanted to mail it in, you could be a government major. But I really liked to write and I really liked to read. And I really liked the sociology department at Colby. And that's why I was a sociology major. I was a psychology minor. I think if you're a liberal arts kid, you kind of stumble into whatever job you stumble into. And I don't know that what your major is in college really has that much to do with what you end up doing for your life. I do like the study of people in groups. I feel like I do that for work. So in my case, it matches up. But I didn't go into that major with the intention that I would use it professionally.
Very interesting. One thing I just came to mind, you said like you had no media growing up as a kid, right? Obviously now you're pretty much the king of media. You've built all these brands.
Media. Yep.
As from a kid standpoint, like just a random question that's coming to mind, do you think what's happening with the generation, given the overload of media probably at this point, you have kids, do you think it's better or worse how it was? I mean, honestly,
I think it's so hard. I mean, it's so saturated. You see it. It's so saturated.
Yeah.
It's just, I think young people now, kids now have the backlash of social media that I never dealt with when I was that age. It's an assault. It really, you look at the levels of depression, you look at anxiety, you look at how much time people are wasting sitting on a screen.
Right.
You look at how that's changing the physicality of people. So I think by the time that today's 12-year-olds get to be 25, I don't know. Will they be into media at all? I don't know. Maybe not.
Why would they go the other way though? Why would it go backwards?
Because I think people will realize how toxic it is.
Oh,
for
really?
them.
Oh, wow. Interesting. I wanted to ask you, between Microsoft, you worked a lot of corporate stuff.
Yeah.
Before. First of all, which job was the most interesting to you? You did Microsoft, you did AOL, and you did
Yahoo. I worked.
Yahoo, yeah.
I think I was part of an IPO at a company called Demand Media. Demand Media was a company based in California that figured out Google. It figured out how to make content based on what Google wanted. And I had worked before that in the portal era, which was the idea that you had a mail account with AOL or you had a mail account with Yahoo, and therefore you got all your news from Yahoo, you got all your finance information from Yahoo, you got all your sports from Yahoo. And what Demand was doing that was so disruptive, it was like, screw the portal. Everyone is just using Google to find what they want, so you have to put content with specificity into places where people are looking for it. So I really loved the Demand job. Being part of an IPO was exhilarating and terrible and hard and really interesting. But also it gave me a front row seat at how consumers are changing. The same thing happened with social, right? Where, when I was the CMO of AOL, we had a big event here in Brooklyn. And we had Sarah Jessica Parker, and we had all these celebs and all these athletes. And all anyone was doing was lining up to see this YouTuber. And I was like, everything has changed. Like, celebrity has changed. And so I feel really lucky that I've seen all different types of media on the internet.
Yeah, you've been at the forefront of a lot of trends. Is there a particular skill in being able to recognize what those trends are, or just a natural thing?
I think you just have to watch people. You have to watch what they're doing. You have to consume a lot yourself, obviously. But, I think it's like in any job. I wrote a book called Nobody Cares About Your Career. And the whole notion is you have to be self-directed. Like, you want to work in a certain industry or have a certain type of career, or you want to predict where things are going to go. You have to be a student of what it is. You have to look backwards. You have to look forwards.
Yeah, you have to live with intention, effectively.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah,
Yep.
You really got to be driven to go in a very specific direction. I brought with me today, first of all, the number one. This guy's a sports gambling guru.
Oh, you're a sports gambling guy?
We're just gonna get right to it.
Who do you bet with?
I'm a professional sports bettor.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Do you make a lot of money?
Yeah.
Do you love it?
He does well.
I do love it.
Do you have all sorts of algorithms and spreadsheets? You're like a supercomputer?
Not exactly. I mean, there are different ways to win at sports betting, but I'm just fascinated with everything gambling related. So.
And what do you bet on? What's your sport?
So. Mostly basketball and football, but now in the summer I've been, some soccer that's been going on, golf. But I'm just, everything that has to do with gambling, I'm fascinated.
You're
so
into.
Barstool, Penn, all of that.
Sure.
I'm always so interested in that stuff.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Let me ask you, just getting to Barstool, because I'm sure, obviously you're probably driven crazy about that, and people are obviously naturally curious. You took the company from 15 million valuation to 450 in like 4 years or 5 years. Some crazy numbers, stupid things. I saw also somewhere, is this true that you took it from you went from 100 million to 200 million, you plus the 100% revenue in 1 year? Is that accurate? I was reading an article somewhere.
In 1 year?
In 2020 to 2021, you guys. That's what I read. I was like, that sounds insane.
That's a lot. I mean, we went from 5 million to 300 million in 8 years. So whatever, you're a gambling guy. You'll know that now.
Yeah. No, that's enough.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Did you have any hesitations before taking the job?
No, not really. I think other people did. I think other people were like, ooh, like, why would you go work there? And Dave's a terrorist, and this is career suicide. And, why wouldn't you stay in some perky corporate job and, have a perky corporate life? But I really loved Dave Portnoy from the jump, and I loved Barstool. I read a lot of Barstool. I wore a lot of Barstool. There wasn't so much video in 2016 or 2015 or 14, but when Dave started Barstool, I lived in Boston and would remember people handing it out at the train. So I had had a front row seat as a consumer. And, Barstool was the way most guys I knew in Boston talked to one another. They texted one another. Everyone had big group chats. You'd read a Barstool article. You'd talk about it. You'd be like, I can't believe what Dave did. And really what we did together was to make an entire country feel that way. And that's what was so cool about that ride.
You were Stoolie from the beginning, basically.
Definitely.
You knew this whole... What do you think is the skill set? I'm actually curious about creating a movement, that power, right? It's a Trump-like power that he has, in my opinion. Like, I never hear a lot of people make that connection, and he, almost in my opinion, is somewhat scared of making the connection. He's always like, listen, I'm not saying I vote for Trump, but I'll tell you this, which... I understand exactly what he's saying. He's saying you could be a normal person and have normal views that are somewhat similar, right? But he has the ability to make a movement. That's something that he has.
Yeah, I think Dave made something that was bigger than Dave, but Dave also understood that he was the epicenter of it. And he's a unicorn. I mean, you have to be exceptionally talented. He works insanely hard, and he is extremely precise about how something looks, where the camera is. He's always on. His boat goes out to sea. He does a press conference. Kamala Harris, takes the Democratic nomination. He has something to say about it. Trump gets, shot at. He says something. He's very, the Red Sox do something. The Celtics do something.
He's there.
Something's happening in New York City. Something's happening with the NFL. He's omnipresent, and he created a movement because I think he tapped people into how he feels, and he shared the inner monologue and the journey. As the thing that made Barstool so great was it was a reality show about a reality show, and he existed on multiple planes. And then I think he's in on the joke,
meaning
that he understands what's funny, and he understands that you laughing at him and with him or reacting to him is part of the gig. And a movement is just igniting other people to feel a certain way.
Yeah.
And by making it bigger than Dave, Big Cat did the same thing. KFC's done kind of the same thing. So that was by design.
Can I ask you a question? One of the things I've seen, you brought this up, I wasn't planning on asking this, but it's something I've always been extremely curious about. You brought up specifically that he's specific. A lot of times I think that people in their journeys, and I ask this for myself, when they're intense and aggressive about getting where they want to go, there are people around them that are, kind of saying you don't need to be as specific, as, directive about exactly how you want things. You can, take the, scale things back a little bit. And I've always been one for myself that's been very much I see it very clearly. It needs to be done specifically and with a lot of detail. I think there's a lack of confidence that almost sometimes you get in your head. Maybe I'm being too specific.
Yeah.
With Dave, what's he like? Is he to me, it always seemed his confidence was it doesn't make a difference if the entire world is coming at him. He just was very, very clear about how he saw a situation, his conviction of him being a normal person, right? But behind the scenes, how maniacal was he, so to speak, about how things get done?
I think Dave is very common sense driven, and he is honest to a fault. So if he feels a certain way, he's going to say how he feels. And I think that's important if you want to build a following. People have to believe in you, and they have to believe you are who you say you are. So he's very good at that. In terms of, pizza reviews drop every night at 6 p.m. Most all pizza reviews are awesome. That's not an accident. He understands the timing. He understands the moment. He understands what's funny. He understands where the camera should be. He understands how to talk to the camera. So, that is a skill in media. Like, to be influential, to build a movement, you have to be precise with all of that.
Got it. No, interesting. Okay, fine. So in regards to when you came to Barstool, was the skill set and stuff you learned, let's say, from in the corporate media, which is a different planet, obviously, from Barstool, were you able to carry over stuff from
Definitely. Definitely. I mean, we grew an ad business, like I mentioned, from really little to insanely big. I knew how to do that. I knew where I wanted us to get to because I had run, a $2 billion ad business. So it's, I saw where we could go, and what was very cool about Barstool was figuring out all the pieces of how exactly this group of people was going to get there. So, I think it's true for anybody in their job, kind of getting back to the book, is that you can work at really big places, you can work at really small places, you can work at failures, you can work for yourself. It's what you take from all those things and how you put it into something that can get you to someplace new, and that's what happened at Barstool.
All right, everybody, just want to give a quick shout out to our sponsor for this episode, CubX. CubX is an IT company that personally does my own IT. I've recommended these guys to multiple of my friends. They have come back with nothing but rave reviews. These guys have fantastic customer service. There are no hold times. You call, you get through, they fix your problem immediately, and they are truly a group of talented IT professionals. They service specifically companies of 5 employees or more. They have a special division for companies with 500 employees or more, and a additional division specifically dedicated to the healthcare field, which is an area that they particularly specialize in. If you'd like to get through to them, you can reach them at 732-444-8771. Press 2 to get through to the sales department. You can also email them at hello@cubx.com. That's hello@cubx.com. You can also check them up online at cubx.com. Again, that's cubx.com. If you're a new company that's starting out and need a great IT team, definitely reach out to these guys. Or if you're an existing company that is currently not happy with your existing IT firm, I would highly recommend this group. Thank you so much, guys. Back to the episode. First of all, your book just came out. I want to give that a plug, right? I wished I didn't realize how, I thought it didn't come out yet, and then I saw it just came out.
Yeah.
What's the name of the book?
It's called Nobody Cares About Your Career.
Okay, Nobody Cares About Your Career. That's a very you way of putting it. I like it.
Yeah, it's very me. It's, I wrote it on the train. I wrote it when I worked at Barstool Sports. It's really kind of a self-help book for work, where it's like, look, there's 2 things holding you back. It's your ego, where you think you're greater than you are, and it's your insecurity, where you think you can't accomplish something that maybe you can. And you've got to be able to put those 2 things aside and in the back seat if you want to put yourself out there to become something.
How do you balance both of those things, in your opinion? Because if you're not insecure, then maybe you think you're greater than you are.
Well, I mean, everyone is insecure and arrogant. So it's really...
You got to read the book.
Right.
Yeah, that would have been good before coming here.
I hear that. No, don't worry. We're definitely going to...
What is this podcast? What's your mission?
I like this. Great question. Well,
what's your movement? What's the movement you're making?
That's a fantastic question. Okay, so the movement that I would say, the most important, it happens to be, something, I like this because I've never spoken about this on camera before.
Okay.
So I'm very, very comfortable. I normally keep things pretty close to the chest.
Okay.
You know something? I'm with
Here we go.
Erika. Here we go. I would say there's a few different core tenets for me that are important to the podcast. Number one, I think, from what I see currently on the internet, I don't see a ton of podcasts that have a mix from, say, the 25 to 30, or really 18 to 32-year-old range, which has a level of real humor, like Barstool-esque humor, and more serious content as far as mature content. It's really either fuckery, or it's like, you could go in the other direction of significant self-development and like that. And that's never who I was. I love fuckery, trust me, but I also am someone who's sitting here and I work long hours as well. And I like building
So you're
things.
doing this on the side?
Yes.
Okay.
Correct. So...
and what do you do for your day job?
Real estate. I broker multifamily real estate.
Okay, got it. Okay.
Yeah. So
Why is it called Mislabeled?
So my Hebrew name is Label.
Okay, got it.
So
okay,
Label,
that's cute.
and
okay.
I guess people, I don't know.
No,
how would you
because
best describe it?
you're out of the box, and like people.
Okay, that's cool.
People, mislabel you.
I'll
Okay.
let him speak for myself.
That's good. It's good to have an agent. And then what do people mislabel you as?
Again, I'll let him talk. I'm not going to sit here and talk about myself.
Rebel, high school dropout.
Okay.
I guess in the religious community, there are more strict standards. There's no one who has a podcast like this that's sitting down with famous people, aka yourself, dropping, cursing, all the everything that.
So are you kind of like a black sheep?
I would say yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And the community's like, I don't know about this guy.
I mean, a lot of them are eating it up.
Are you like a?
It's a similar,
everybody loves it, but they don't say it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, most of the audience.
He would know better than me.
Most of the audience is the religious community.
Yeah, right now, I would say my biggest struggle right now is breaking out of the religious community and going more mainstream.
Okay, which is what you want.
We have a very loyal fan base. We basically, in the 18 to 35-year-old space, we have, I think, a little bit of like a Barstool type demographic as far as the extremely loyal fan base.
Yeah.
At the same time, anyone who's above 35 is not really going to be tuned in because it's a bunch of Jewish moms that are like, why am I listening to a bunch of guys, that are
yapping
30 yapping around? So you've now taken you're now 18 to 35 in the religious community, and then you have the people that, for whatever reason, don't like it. But I'm saying the base that does like it is all in.
Okay.
But there's not enough. That's not my goal. My real goal, personally, is to become the first Orthodox person to be able to make it in the entertainment space.
You think that there hasn't been an Orthodox person that's made it in entertainment?
Orthodox, not Jewish.
Well, there's in terms of like having like a huge platform, a huge podcast
as a public facing,
is there
as
Ben
a
Shapiro
star.
Like there are people, like Ben
space?
Shapiro is good.
Politics.
Right. That's not entertainment, but
Okay.
Right.
So
like
what's
David's
your
Jewish,
shtick gonna
but
be?
he's, for all intents and purposes, he doesn't. I'm saying it has nothing to do. By me, it's just more of a. It's just there's a blue ocean there.
Yeah, I got
a little bit of a blue ocean. Like we're very polarizing. I don't have a problem. Like I don't go for woke culture in any capacity.
Yeah.
Like I don't give I'll make a Holocaust joke. Like I don't give a damn. Like it's not.
Sorry, can I ask a really ignorant question? What do you think the difference between just in Hollywood, the difference between Jewish and being Orthodox is to build a brand?
So it's just that a lot of people out there are a lot of Orthodox people out there that they see somebody with a yarmulke and they're like, oh, that's my people. And of course, all Jews are our people, but it's more of like, this is our little
epicenter.
Are you asking from the mainstream how they would see it differently?
No, I'm asking for who you want your audience to be.
So again, the truthfulness is that I would like my audience to be an 18 to 32-year-old demographic in the mainstream in the world.
Anybody. You're like, I don't
would
care.
Like that.
Yeah.
I very much would like that. I think, truthfully, we have the talent to do it. I do believe that. For sure, from my end, from operational skill set, funding, different angles, ability to, identify talent. It happens to be in the Orthodox community. I would say that the biggest difficulty that I have is finding talent that is willing to get in front of a freaking mic and not be uncomfortable with the public backlash.
But that's not in the culture.
Yes, that's the not allowed part.
Yeah,
that's the part that's the mislabeled part of it.
Yep. Okay.
So there's a lot of great talent. Just a lot of people don't want to put themselves front and center. So
maybe you could make like a network where you start to grow other shows that are under Mislabeled.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, for sure. So I've thought of exactly that, and no, not that I'm not trying to, God forbid, say that. And I'm just saying.
Why not?
What would the network be? You're saying non-Jewish, whatever, anyone.
No, I'm saying speak to who you are, right? So if the Orthodox community, if the 18 to 32-year-olds within the Orthodox community are underserved from a media perspective, they don't see themselves, right? Mm-hmm. So in my world, women executives, you don't see women executives. I'm trying to do something where you see women, right? It's a little bit different, bigger population, and broader. But why not find the sports person, the gambling person, who's the girl?
Religious? Are we referring to
that are Orthodox? And you're I own the network. You want this community? Like, I'm your guy.
100%. And I've been working at that. But I said it's very hard to find talent, people that are willing to.
Have you ever done like a casting call?
So I have. We got 100 applicants on the first round. We found someone that did not work out. I'm not going to get into the details on that. Again, a lot of pressure from a lot of outside sources, whatever it was.
Yeah.
And I only hire if it's the right person. So
Obviously,
I'm not going to take someone that's not right. I mean, currently, I haven't even said this publicly. I'm offering $100,000 to the next person.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah, to the next person that's a co-host on this podcast. I've actually never ever said it publicly.
I'm not a permanent member of the podcast.
No, it's like, are you getting 100? You're like, I'm so good at gambling, I don't need the $100,000.
He's obsessed with Barstool. I was like, you know something? Let me give. I love one of my good friends. I'm like, this is the guy that I need to speak to you.
So that'd be fun. You should make the network.
I want to, but I need people that are also. People have to be willing to work. This is not. You can't have another job and be doing this an hour a week. It's not how this. People think you just watch a podcast for an hour. That's what it takes. So people don't realize I'm up till 4 o'clock in the morning. I don't sleep. Like, you know, so now that's why originally I was like, okay. Originally, I was either offering nothing and people were getting advantages because they wanted to work in media. At this point, I'm willing to offer money because I need to pull someone away from someone who's in an accounting job. That is like, I really hate my life right now, but I still need to support myself, and I'm making 100, so I need to be able to justify going to something that's going to put my life.
Maybe you have somebody do it anonymously. Do you want to talk about something else? We can talk about something else.
I don't mind talking about it. I actually love talking. This is the best thing I've ever had. I really came. You were the one who asked, by the way. Did not come to talk about myself.
There was one episode where you had somebody blur their face, right? That was for a different reason.
I'd make the like character that's like cut out in black. You know, like you don't ever see who they are, their voices.
Yeah, the voice changer.
And you could get a couple people like
That's
that.
an interesting idea. What does it cost to hire you?
But I'm giving you free advice right now. This is like the greatest thing on this podcast.
This is awesome. I love it.
Do you think that people would watch multiple episodes of that where they don't see or hear the people?
No, one person. She's saying just one of the co-hosts.
No, I don't think you can do it. I think you need to think beyond yourself. And if you really wanted this to, I think the business, like, sure, you could go be the greatest star to come out of the Orthodox community of all time. And I think that's an awesome thing to aspire to. Like, there should be star athletes, there should be star broadcasters, there should be star executives, like, and you want to be part of that movement. What I'm saying is, why not speak? I think you get lost if you're trying to speak to too many people.
For sure.
You're trying to compete in the greatest arena of all time, which is the 18 to 34-year-old male. Everyone and their fucking mother is trying to speak to an 18 to 34-year-old male.
True.
Like, I built a juggernaut on that.
And the mothers are also, you're right.
Everybody. But why not speak to the 18 to 34-year-olds in your community?
I'll answer the question for that.
Well, why not?
Because you can't make money. There's not a big enough audience.
You think it's that small?
Yeah, I'm telling you it's that small. Of course.
Why
I know the
not? Have you
demographics.
ever tried? Have you ever tried to sell ads?
What do you mean sell ads? How much money do you think that I'm looking to make? First of all, I like doing big things, just for the record. Like,
but I think this could be a big thing.
But Orthodox community is 150,000 people. You know, it's
in
not
the country
that are relevant, and for sure, yeah, it's not nearly as big as you think. You're
but
just
then
living
why
in Brooklyn.
not speak to Jews and Orthodox Jews?
Because then already, once you're at Jews, it's just you're talking to the mainstream at that point.
Okay, well then don't do the idea.
Which part of it?
You're stuck.
I'm aware of my position.
You're stuck. You want to be mainstream. You want to compete with the Barstool Sports. Okay. Having a full-time job, doing this part-time, and your shtick is that you're Orthodox, right? That's your hook. Is that the hook? Or is it that you're funny and that it's? But that's really.
I mean, okay.
That's your.
There's
brand.
a mix of I mean, I would say it's a mix of a couple of things. I would say that.
Okay. Then you have this community that has no media, is what I'm hearing you say to an 18 to 34. Not enough. You're caught. You're here with one show.
I know where I am.
You could go here or you could go here. It's easier to win here. It's easier to win the community.
100%.
And I think
the question is if you win that.
So what? Exactly. Which
first of all, that doesn't wake me up in the morning. I'll just
okay. So then you shouldn't do that.
That's definitely where you started. I think I don't want to.
I did. Yeah, I did.
It started, and then now you're really trying to branch out and see if you could branch out. Erika, what you're saying is that it's going to be very hard to do that.
I think you're competing in like just in a really. That space is just so crowded, and I think what everyone needs is that hook. And that's what Dave did so well at Barstool. That's what Big Cat does so well. That's what everybody, Alex Cooper, you name it. They have a thing. And when something happens, you always turn to that person.
Meaning, explain. That was vague.
Like
so
baseball, Red Sox. When something happens with the Red Sox, you're going to look to Jared Carrabis. When something happens with the Mets, you're looking at Frank the Tank. When something happens with sex, you're looking at Call Her Daddy.
Right.
What's your thing?
I just want to jump in there, by the way. It happens to be, I think
people look for me
at
for
this
sex
point,
also,
when
by the
something
way.
happens with the Red Sox, I don't know if people look to Carryover anymore now that he's not with Barstool. Like
I think that
Frank the Tank, though.
Oh, Frank is. We had Frank. You know we had Frank on.
I know, I love Frank. That's where
love Frank?
Barstool's so special, right? Because it's a petri dish. It's a magnifying glass.
But Barstool
you know?
really does a good job of really
Of amplifying,
magnifying, yes,
definitely.
magnifying those
but I think
personalities.
it's, you could find it, but you need that thing that like people.
I need talent that is willing to put their face in front of a camera.
Yes and no. You need. Why not start with you? If you know.
I do, and I think we've become in what 16 to 18 months for sure top 2 in the Orthodox world as far as.
But then you're targeting the community.
I mean, that was just where I started naturally because that's just where we landed.
Okay. All right.
Anyways.
So what you're suggesting is that unless we convert you to Judaism in the next, half hour, we shouldn't air this episode.
No, you should definitely air this episode.
No, because this is not for the Orthodox community. This is.
Why not though?
No, I guess it could be.
Doesn't the Orthodox community want you to be successful and have this show?
That could be debatable.
But I bet inside,
I'm asking.
people
I
feel
don't
it
care.
inside, that'd be amazing.
Yeah, I don't even think about it if I'm being totally honest.
Okay.
I know what I want, so I want to be successful. So I'm not really concerned with what they want.
Okay.
I think we're doing well. No, I really do. I think we've done very, very well with guests. That's the truth.
That's great.
We're sitting with a great guest over here. Also, I mean, we've had a good list, and we
100%.
So from that perspective,
I'm just telling you, I think you have a world you could own in a really interesting way.
I'm with you 1,000,000%.
And you may not be interested in it, but
do you think it's
breaking
possible
out
to,
over here is going to be hard. Yeah. Breaking out here is not.
Do you think it's possible to own that community while still trying to branch out?
Definitely.
He's not necessarily going to lose out on the Orthodox community just because he's trying to, have a wider variety of topics.
Definitely not. But you always want to, I don't know how your show is formatted, but you always want something that speaks only to the core.
Yeah, you want to niche more. She's saying you could create an army out of the Orthodox Jewish community. It's
You
going to
wanna-
be very hard
you
to
wanna-
create that army.
You want to move. That's right.
I understand. It's just from a financial standpoint.
Yeah,
it's much
I agree.
difficult.
It's tough.
There's very
I
little
agree with
people.
that.
Like they're not buying merch and wearing my
Yeah,
merch.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
I
Like,
got you.
these kids are going to like private schools that
Yeah,
are like
yeah,
the
I got
parents
you.
are like,
Yeah.
take the fucking shirt off now.
Yeah.
You'll be outside
Yeah.
tonight. Like,
Yeah.
it's not.
Yeah.
No, that's not happening. No abusive parents in
Yeah.
with that. Everyone's good.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Wait a second. So I want to go Barstool for a second. Back to
Yeah.
you. You know something? You just interviewed me. It's good.
I know.
Now I'm back to interviewing you.
Okay.
Sorry. When you came to Barstool, you had mentioned, what was your original plan when you came to Barstool to do exactly what you ended up doing?
Yeah,
Or
to grow it.
it was. But I'm saying were there things that happened that were like not at all in the cards, like with Penn
Every
and all that
day. I mean, I think it's first to prop up the company, to establish the company, right? They needed a P&L. They needed multiple lines of revenue. They needed to scale. We needed an office in New York. We wanted to move to video. We wanted to move to podcasting, like all those things. I think we did a very good job of. I think the original intention was that we would get bought by a media company, which is why we did the 2 television shows. We did 2 television shows in, I think, 2017, 2018. And
Barstool
then
Van Talk,
and then we did a show on Comedy Central, and then PASPA was repealed, and then that was the end of that, where we knew that we would be a gambling company.
So the plan all along wasn't to become a gambling. When did that come around?
I mean, the
plan to
gambling
become
was.
a gambling company?
I mean, Dave was always. That's how Barstool started. It was a gambling rag, So it was always in the core of the talent. Dave, Dan, the Chisholm, the early guys. But it wasn't full, and gambling was a very big ad category for us with fantasy. So DraftKings and FanDuel were big advertisers. But it wasn't an exit strategy until PASPA. And then it became a big exit strategy, obviously.
So just jumping ahead a little bit, when Penn did buy the company, was it after Penn bought the company, then there was a decision, okay, now we're just going all out gambling? Or?
No, it was before. So because we went through a large process, right? So PASPA was repealed. We then brought on three big partners. We brought on MGM. We brought on FanDuel. We brought on a couple other companies. And then we started the sale process of, who would be the right partner for us.
Mm-hmm.
When you were CEO, were you directing were you working with Dave as far as the direction of the company and the specific direction, or more just really CEO operations as far as financial, like you obviously have to get the finances in order.
Yeah, the finances for sure. I think Dave really ran the content vision. Here's what we're going to make. This is what happens in this show. This talent is funny. That was Dave's whole world. And then what I really focused on was how do I build the pipes? How do I build the infrastructure so that can scale? Like Barstool's a machine.
So I wanted to actually ask you about scaling because I think it's one of the common difficulties for entrepreneurs. I'm an aggressive person, so I like scaling, but you don't want to scale too fast because then you lose all your money.
Yeah.
So are there any tips as far as knowing when it's time to scale, a company generically, obviously, versus when it's like, don't go for this. This is too aggressive.
I think you always have to be really mindful. Like you want to grow small and steady, and then once you start slow or move a little bit faster, the momentum will gain. There's a lot of companies who try to spend their way into growth, which isn't a great strategy. And in our case, we were always really thrifty. Like we were always really like.
Can you elaborate on that? Like when you say spend their way into growth, you're saying
they're like, I'm gonna have a $2 million marketing budget. I'm gonna make a big TV show. We were like, we have no money. We're gonna give people iPhones and cameras, and like this setup is. We didn't have a setup like this for the majority of my time at Barstool.
That's what we didn't do as well as I'm doing.
Yeah, exactly.
I remember Dave always talking about if somebody wants to make a podcast, like don't come to us asking for money to fund the podcast. Just take your phone and just start recording.
Exactly.
And then if it's good,
then
we'll give you production value.
Exactly. So that's what I mean by that, which is we were really good at having people just start something, and if people were into it, then we knew to put gasoline on it.
Right, you're saying once you develop proof of concept and you see something's working, that's what
it's
proof of concept. Right.
Yeah.
No, I hear that 100%. There are times though that when your proof of concept isn't there, but you also haven't tried something. I guess this is where it gets a little bit delicate, where you haven't fully executed on a plan that you want that requires more capital to be to put in. Then you have to make a decision on okay, am I willing to give this another go as far as inserting more capital. So I think that's where it always gets.
It gets a little tricky because you're like, do I put more time? Do I put more money? And then the other thing, people have a very hard time abandoning their ideas, which is really to the book. It's like you get stuck on something's going to happen or you're going to be something, and every indication is it's not going to happen. It's very hard to lose that.
So what is that? So talk to that a little more.
I think it's hard to give up on a dream. It's hard to say, I want to make something happen. I know I just need to give a little bit more money, or I have to try a little bit longer, or it's, X wasn't right. I'm going to switch that. When reality is, I think you have to think about something that I always think about as like product market fit. Like, does your product have an audience?
Right.
Yes or no? And if it has an audience, it has an audience. And I think sometimes it's retrenching to say, do I have product market fit? Do people want this? I live in media. So, are people watching what I'm making? Are they commenting on it? How many DMs am I getting? Are advertisers knocking at my door? Can I sell a T-shirt? Like
the market talks.
The market talks, exactly.
Yeah,
you know it in your other business, 100%.
Yeah, no,
you either can sell something or you can't.
Exactly. Do people want this fucking thing or not?
Yes, that's right. Exactly.
Is there an example of something at Barstool that, an idea that maybe you felt like you held on a little too long, an idea that didn't work out?
Oh, definitely, like Gold. Like, I don't know if you knew. That was our subscription product where our board was really pushing us to do this subscription. And when we did it, it required us to put exclusive content behind a paywall, and Stoolies were going to have to pay X, $20 a month or whatever.
That doesn't make them happy.
No, and we were
also at one point, the privilege to be in the comment section. I think
yes.
Was also,
yes. Good call. Yeah, it was to be in the comment section.
It just happened again, though. What was the whole thing that happened where YouTube didn't allow them to put on the final?
Oh yeah. So then we left and went to Rumble.
Right. I remember that. That was awesome.
But anyways. It didn't feel right. Like our talent just wanted more audience. They're kind of in the same place you are. They just want to talk to more people. So the idea that you would make something that only a few people would see was just wrong. And we hung on to that too long. I hung on to that too long.
There's a book that in fairness, I never read it. I bought it. I never read it. I have a whole bunch of those.
Yeah.
But that's probably why I didn't buy your book yet, because I don't want to know.
Yeah. So glad we're doing this.
I'm messing with you. No, we'll talk.
Well,
First of all,
it should make you feel better that he doesesn't read other books.
I don't care.
I am actually learning a ridiculous amount. I'm literally obsessed. I'm loving this. You might not be going anywhere, by the way.
Yeah.
No, I'm joking. There's a book that says When to Know When to Quit. Right?
When to know when to quit.
It's,
Okay.
it's something like that. Or
Okay, fine.
So that's something
That's the gist.
or it's quit,
Yeah.
when to know how, whatever. People talk about this book all the time. You have the flip side of this also. You hear about great people that talk about how they could have given up 8,000, right? Elon, all these different stories of every single great person, and their number one thing was, I didn't give up. I didn't give up. When do you know? And you're like, and everyone is convinced, right? Of like you're saying, people don't want to let go of an emotion or a dream that they have. But let's say, when do you know if your gut is talking properly and truthfully, and when do you like?
Yeah, I think you always have to listen to your gut. And there's so many stories, right, where, the person who kept at it for, I was talking to somebody yesterday, like George Clooney was in something like 9 pilots before what was the hospital show George Clooney was on? Does anyone remember this? Anyways, he was on, hold on, I have to think about it. He was on...
Not House.
No, it wasn't House. It was ER. Okay, so before George Clooney went on ER, and then he became hugely famous and everything else is history, he had to keep going. So there's always that story, and you can always look to that story. I think, though, there is also a point in time where you want to become something, but there might be a different path for you. And I don't think there's a specific science of like, when do you keep going versus when do you give up? It's kind of like, when does the noise become so loud, the signal becomes so loud that this isn't working?
Yeah, I mean, you don't hear about the 1,000 other people whose names aren't
Exactly.
George Clooney who also did
Who
9
did
pilots.
400 pilots and nothing
still,
happened.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's gotta be so depressing.
Yeah.
Oh God. But listen, but regret sucks also. So it's like,
Yeah, it's hard.
But
at least you try, and you can try something else, and I think that's kind of the whole dream of it, is just keep trying things.
Was there, when you were at Barstool, was there a specific moment that you and Dave were like, okay, we just broke through? Like, this was it? Like, we went from being...
Yeah, there were a lot of those. Like, because we were growing so fast, one, I remember something happened in like the New York Times, and like a bunch of paparazzi were like planted outside the door of the office, and we couldn't leave. And it was like, oh my God, people actually care what we're doing. And there were other moments where we would go, to California. And when I got to Barstool, it was like, we just wanted people out of New England to hear about Barstool. And we went to California, and people got recognized, and it was like, oh, they like... people actually know who we are. So there were a lot of moments like that, whether it was, breaking brands that came with us, or getting to the top of the charts, or getting certain guests to come. I mean, it's all a game about guests. So all that stuff was really good.
All right, everybody, want to give a quick shout out to our sponsor for this episode, Ice Shaker Incorporated. For those of you that have been following Mislaibeled, you know that we had Chris Gronkowski on. This is his company. They were on Shark Tank, offered a deal by all 5 sharks. They have sold over 1 million bottles to date. Kitchen-grade stainless steel, which does not absorb odor like all plastic bottles do. If you are a workout junkie, this product is for you. Third-party tested, will hold ice for 30-plus hours and keep your drink cold. Additionally, this is customizable for all employers for their employees and can make for a great gift for a friend. Turnaround time on custom bottles is 3 to 5 business days. To reach out to them, you can hit them via email, info@iceshaker.com. That's info at ICESHAKER.com. Or reach them by phone, 817-329-6478. Again, that's 817-329-6478. A customer rep will direct you to the correct sales department. Now back to our episode.
You mentioned that when you started Barstool, you were looking for people in the New England area to know you. Maybe you didn't realize, you didn't think, I don't know how much was in your plans of how many people would recognize you. And then you also made a decision to put yourself in content too. You had your podcast, your Token CEO podcast. Do you at all regret your decision to like put yourself in the public eye like that?
It's hard. I still think about it. One of the things about Barstool is everybody's in content. Like, you didn't have a choice. You were, by virtue of being there, you were in content, and that's the magic of the house that Dave built. I think that's just the magic of it. I created the Token podcast because during the pandemic, I was emailing everyone in the company. We had 250 people in the company at the time, and we were in the office 5 days a week. So the idea of not working in the office was very jarring. It was very alienating. And so I was emailing everyone, and I was like, this is so stupid. I'm like sending 250 emails, and I'm getting 100 emails back, and then I'm sending another, it was just stupid. So I was like, if I just make a quick 10-minute podcast, I could better, more efficiently communicate. And then the other thing that kind of, in my world is, there's not a lot of female CEOs. There's not a lot of female executives, period. There's not a lot of women sitting in a frat house in a crazy town. And like, this is my bird's eye view of what's happening here. So it's hard. I don't think I'm a natural talent. I don't think I'm great. I'm not motivated to be on camera. I'm happy to be on camera. I think the work that I'm doing is super interesting. I think the way that we're building companies and the pivots I've made there's lessons to be learned from that. And I think I'm very authentic in it, but I'm not motivated to be on camera, even to this day.
That's interesting. I wouldn't have fully thought that. I mean, it's clear that obviously your background, you want to build things like that.
Yeah, I
that
just want to build
very
stuff.
Obvious. Yeah.
I want to make money.
Have you at all been exposed to any blowback? I don't know if you're familiar with the Barstool subreddit.
Oh yeah, I mean the subreddit is. Somebody sent me something yesterday where they're like,
"It's a trash heap," but
it's Reddit is the best. Like you want to know what's happening in the world, like go to Reddit.
Everyone says that. It's so funny.
But it's so awful.
This Barstool subreddit is, I would say, like one of the most Reddit-y subreddits.
Oh, 100%. It is like ground zero Reddit, like apex Reddit.
Have you ever?
I didn't.
Have you ever made a burner and posted on there?
No, I don't spend any time in the Reddit.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, I don't spend any. That would be a disaster. Look, I think some people like when I'm in content, some people don't. Some people have a very visceral reaction to it. Like it's not what motivates me. So I'm not in the Reddit being like, what they think about this versus that. I do think what's amazing about Barstool is just how much opinion there is. And that's really what everyone should want. We had this show where Glennie Balls was doing burger reviews, and it was our #1 show on Facebook, mostly because people hated it. Yes. And they just commented all the time. It's like,
I think
that's
Glennie's
kind of
turned
like
it around, by the way.
I love Glennie. I think
there
Sunday
are still
Conversation.
Glennie haters, but Sunday Conversation, and then he also the Only Stands.
People like the Only
Too.
Stands show.
Yeah,
that's obvious.
I'm
shocked.
100%.
Yeah, 100%.
I think it's just like the shock value of just seeing Glennie talking to OnlyFans models.
Yeah, it's funny.
Yeah,
that definitely. Yeah, I mean,
but the burger reviews was just.
boring.
No offense to Glennie, there's
nothing to it.
Why would somebody want to watch that? But
that's all you need, though.
But you just need people to hate you, and you can become a success. Like that's the whole. I have like time for 2 questions. Is that cool?
2 questions.
Well, now we got to make it count.
I didn't realize. Well, now we definitely. First of all, I feel like I got all.
At least we got some advice.
100%. That's what I'm saying.
I think it's going to be a good episode.
Okay,
do you think it's going to be a good episode?
100%. Why would this not be a good episode?
How was Matisyahu?
Oh, so
you really did your research.
I know. I love him.
He's great.
I only watched the episode. I wasn't here for it.
Is he a nice person?
Sweetheart.
Based in LA?
An
Where does he
actual
live?
sweetheart. What? Like a real sweetheart.
Why doesn't he still make music?
He does. I don't know. I mean, he still does a lot of touring and whatnot. He does live shows all the time. Yeah, sure.
I love him. Okay, anyways,
maybe we'll set up a meeting.
That'd be amazing. All right.
Okay, that was one question.
Okay, that's on me.
I got 4
That's on me. That's on me. Yeah.
First of all, I wanted to hear a little bit about what you're doing here, but I can't waste the question. It's a very, very valuable. This is a valuable question.
Okay. Yep. What do you got? It's in roulette.
Well, yeah, no, this is a tough one. Let's just go to women. I want to ask a basic question regarding being, do you feel, first of all, that women face more obstacles in the work field
than men?
Starters? Yeah. Do you think there's less opportunity, I guess, or unequal opportunity?
I don't think there's less opportunity. I think it gets harder the more you move up. I think the starting gates are wide open and pretty open.
That's such a good point.
I think once you get to the top, it gets really narrow.
Wow. So got it. And what would be your advice to women that are looking to?
I think it's.
That's part
really,
of the first question, by the way.
Yeah, no, it's okay. It's an adjunct question. Yeah. I think it's very layered. I think for women, it's hard. Women, you have kids, and then who's taking care of the kids, and then you're on maternity leave, and then then are you going to work 400 hours a week? Like, there's a lot that goes into why women fall off. I was on the board of a sports league, and we had a bunch of investor conversations a couple of weeks ago, and it was all white guys. And I was like, would it fucking kill you to have like a woman in the room? Like, what's wrong with you people?
Right.
So it's like there's a whole bunch of reasons. You drop out of the ranks. I was lucky. Dave and Peter Chernin and the Chernin guys took a bet on me, like coming to Barstool. You need somebody to take a chance on you.
Yeah.
Women need that. All sorts of people need that. Orthodox people need that. Everyone needs that. So I think, I don't think it's a lack of opportunity. I think it's a funnel problem. Women are not moving through the funnel.
Got it.
Did you want to ask about leaving Barstool? I think that's...
Yeah, no, I think you mentioned that a bunch. I can't use up a solid question, something you've already done this before, but he wants to know this is not my question, this is his question, and I'm going to burn this to death before we walk out there. He wants to know specifically, as far as leaving Barstool, why exactly? Was it just because you felt you were done?
We sold the company twice in 1 year, which
crazy.
It's amazing. First for $550 million and then for $1, which in my shoes as someone coming in to sell a company, it was never going to get any better than that. I did what I came to do.
Set a high bar.
Yeah, it was awesome. But I also, I loved what we built, and I didn't want to just hang around the hoop and not be, Dave didn't need me as much anymore after he bought, we got the company back for him.
Why?
Because it was like we'd built the machine.
You completed it, you're saying?
We did it.
But doesn't that machine always need more building? And
definitely. But I also was like, God, I have other things I want to do. I want to go work with women. I want to work in the lifestyle space. I want to, dress
there
like
were
a kindergarten teacher. There were a lot of women at
Mean
Barstool.
Girls pod.
Mean Girls.
No one really liked them.
R.I.P. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, last question. What do you got?
Is, first part of the question is, what was the craziest saga in Barstool? Saga. The second part is, what exactly is Food 52 and what do you guys do?
Oh, you're kind.
Those are 2 parts of the same question.
Barstool's so crazy. It all depends on what you follow. I just think
I'm saying, what saga was just for you and Dave was just holy shit, this is just was it was it the Barstool Fund? I'm not sure what.
The Barstool Fund was amazing. The fact that we could raise $40 million for small businesses by ourselves in 6 months was amazing.
It's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money. And we did it ourselves. We did it our own way. So that piece was very cool. I think that's one of the most meaningful things we did. I think the work that they do to help officers is amazing. I think the way Barstool does charity is really cool. And then there's all the more frivolous stuff, the ESPN battles and the fights on the internet and everyone's offended and all that.
Hit pieces,
a lot of hit pieces.
How did you deal with those hit pieces against Dave?
Hit pieces were hard. It was a lot.
Was Dave stressed out during those times with those hit pieces?
Yeah, some of them were stressful. I think he's very confident and he's very assured of what, has or hasn't happened. And there was a lot of death by headline but it was hard. it was like nagging. It was just constant.
Yeah, it's just hanging over your head.
But that's also part of going up against the establishment.
Yeah, you guys crossed over into politics at a certain point.
When we did Trump, that was a crazy saga,
That's true.
And then Food 52 is a lifestyle company. So we do recipes, we do food, we do home, tabletop, cookware. We have a very cool brand called Schoolhouse, which makes lighting. So I've really moved into a company targeted to women and really thinking about the home. And we'll make this a content company and then also a product company.
It can target men too, by the way. Last
night,
I made lamb chops for the first time.
Oh, you did? How were they?
And they were good. Oh, I have to wait. I took a picture. But anyway, I didn't know anything. I don't know the first thing about making lamb chops here.
Those look great. What are those, potatoes?
Yeah, potatoes. Yeah.
That's great.
So anyway, I was in the store. Also, whatever.
Men can cook too. I love that.
What do I do when I want to know how to make lamb chops? I go to Google, and I didn't know the first thing about the different kinds of lamb chops and how to make them. And the first result was from Food 52. What was interesting about it, though, was that it was an article from 10 years ago.
Yeah, 100%.
So you must be doing a good job if you're getting articles from 10 years ago.
I hope so. We're trying. Yes. Well, thank you. We're trying.
It's funny you're saying that I'm literally building a kitchen right now. Like actually.
Oh, that's fun.
Like actually, like I just picked out a fridge last night. Like countertops.
What'd you do?
Single panel doors. 5.5-inch moldings. Come on, basic. Marble countertops.
Oh, that's nice.
No, I didn't do marble. Whatever. But we did whatever this is. I don't know. Is this whatever that is? It's the same thing.
Starts with a C, I think the word. I forget.
Anyways, so I was walking around here and I'm like, maybe I should change my kitchen and make
it is inspiring. It's a beautiful company.
Yeah. So, but wait a second about where's the revenue? The revenue is selling. Are you guys selling like?
Yeah, we sell products and then we do ads.
And ad stuff. Got it.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's cool.
Okay. And where does the recipe part come in?
Because that's the content
recipes?
piece. No, we just make recipes. We have a test kitchen. Like we experiment.
I saw something when I was walking.
Yeah, Food 52 was started by a food writer.
It's so cool.
It's super cool.
This world is
so different. It's a whole world.
Yeah, and the amount of like concepts you can do with having fun at the same time.
Totally.
It's like girls, you can cook all day and make money.
And guys too.
That's a dream.
Guys too.
That's like imagine we could play basketball. Simple people could just play basketball all day in the park and make money. It's like
imagine you can watch sports all day to make money. That's what I do.
Can you bet on the Olympics or no?
Yes, I only have a few bets so far. I mean, the easier ones.
Is it a good betting thing or no?
Yeah, I mean the limits are pretty low across the board for that stuff because they don't offer that stuff so often. So they know to lower the limits because the markets are not as efficient.
Who do you think the best? Like who do you bet with?
Oh, all of them. If you want to,
so you just offer hop.
Yeah, I'm saying FanDuel, DraftKings,
blah blah blah.
Every single anytime there's a new one, like now there's going to be a new one coming out soon. I don't want to give them a plug, but there's the Profit Exchange. They were open in New Jersey. They were like a sports betting exchange, and they closed. Now they're reopening under like a different system. They're using this sweepstakes loophole. I don't know if you've ever heard of this.
Like Underdog.
So no, Underdog was the DFS loophole, which kind of got closed. Although Underdog you can still use in New York. PrizePicks is not in New York anymore. But Fliff, have you heard of Fliff and Rebet? So they have been around for a little bit. They operate like a regular sports book. They don't have a sports book license. They operate in New York and in plenty of other states.
And in the sweepstakes game.
They call themselves a sweepstakes. And there's like certain conditions that they use where you can bet with real money or you can bet with fake money. And you can also get free, Fliff cash if you mail in just like a sweepstakes.
Wow.
So far these companies are still around, but they're not governed by the gaming board, or anything like that.
I really appreciate you for taking the time. Really,
I'm happy to.
And thank you for the advice, by the way. I'm not kidding.
I'm going to watch you and see how you do.
Absolutely. I'm going to keep you posted. Don't worry.
You
I'm not going nowhere.
I'm in now.
Okay. Amazing, guys.
Maybe we'll have you back on.
Yeah. All right. Have me back on in 6 months and we'll see how we do.
6 months. I'm in 100%. All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Peace and love. On to the next episode.